My name's Michael Shanka. I'm with Solar Heat and Electric, longtime solar advocate and promoter of the state and public power in particular. I really think that's a relevant and unique aspect. We've heard a lot about it, so I won't belabor the point. But it's just such a rare opportunity to see things really starting to happen in Nebraska regarding renewables. And last year was pretty exciting. This year is even more exciting. I'm just really excited about that and seeing this evolution coming around. So it's pretty positive. One of the things that happened earlier this year that really did sort of strike me as, oh my God, it's really going, was this grant that the Center for Rural Affairs received. And not often do states get grants of this size and this magnitude. And there were a lot of competitive forces for these grants across the United States. And there were several states I was reading here that did not win awards because their grant applications apparently weren't that good. But Nebraska won $62 million. That's pretty significant. And it's something that's going to have a multiplier effect across the state, as our two guests here will demonstrate and discuss. So first up is going to be Laura Priest. She'll be talking about this project, and also followed by Daniel Padilla. So Laura's ready to go. Are you got your screen on and ready? I guess we'll just get started then. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for coming to the last session of the day, all. Laura Priest with the Center for Rural Affairs, and we are the proud recipients of the $62 million Solar for All grant. It is going to be a 5-year grant, and we have some big plans with that. So I'm just going to start with program eligibility. There's going to be 3 ways in which you can qualify for Solar for All grant funds. First being household income. If you have a household income that is 80% of the area median income, first qualifier. Second is a categorical eligibility, which is an income qualified housing program, income qualified assistance, utility assistance programs, there's a whole host of them. If you need a comprehensive list, I'm sure I can get you one later. There's many. Also census tract based. So if you are a CJUS tract or an environmental justice supplemental census tract, that is also a category you can qualify with. Up next, we are going to have the requirements that the EPA has of us. So 100% of all Solar for All dollars must benefit qualified households, and that is urban, rural, suburban, and tribal households as well. We do have a requirement to maximize the number of qualified households served and the amount of solar energy installed. We have a requirement to also ensure a 20% affordability, a savings benchmark that will need to be met and maintained over the course of that grant. The Solar for All grant is the Center for Rural Affairs is currently seeking partners and projects who are willing and able to align with these requirements. So hit us up. Daniel already moved it. Up next, we have affordability. So the participants in Solar for All must realize bill savings of at least 20%. So if your utility bill is $120, Solar for All funds must take at least $24 off of your bill. This can be delivered through bill credits, rent decreases, net metering, virtual net metering, what have you, but that needs to be a savings benchmark across the board for Solar for All funds. And up next, I'm going to give Daniel the mic. He's going to talk about the program design itself.
Thank you all. I know I met a number of you, so hopefully we can interact if we haven't connected yet. And I also want to thank the committee for saving the best for last. So thanks for being here. But really, just talking about the program design, there's 3 parts to the Solar for All grant. One of us community, which that'll be the chunk of our work, and the other 2 pieces, as you're familiar, is the multifamily and the rooftop distributed. The community solar, you're familiar with that. I do want to say that our projects will be up to 5 megawatts. Up to 5 megawatts, and as Laura mentioned earlier, is 50% of that energy generation must go to LMI households. And there's different ways to qualify that. We briefly went over that, and we're obviously we're here to help engage with you on that and figuring out so we can serve those communities. And of course, one key thing as well is we must satisfy the 20% savings to the household. And that's on the total bill. It's not on the not necessarily on just a kilowatt hour, but the total bill. Something to keep in mind. The next piece is the multifamily solar. That's for income qualified multifamily units. And then what we want to do, some of our strategies going forward is figuring out not only work with the ITC credit, but figure out some of the adders that are available to actually maximize so we can use those funds to have even greater impact across the state. Our last piece is really on the rooftop distributed solar. We our goal, our plan is to phase that. We will do some pilot projects across the state. That's something we want to do, but we want to do that towards the end of it so that we can get some synergies and we can get some of these loans revolving so that we can maximize the just the impact that we can have. Moving on, I don't want to say this is the boring stuff, but of the 62 million, we can allocate 25% for technical assistance. That's for you to help us out, for us to go to the communities, for us to making sure that we're following, EPA guidelines, federal guidelines, and we know that's going to take a lot of work and efforts and partnerships with you. And we are more than welcome to do that. I'll be straightforward. We are finalizing some things with the EPA. We're really hoping to, some guidance. We're trying to get some guidance back from them. But here, hopefully, here in early 2025, we can move forward with the chunk of this work. Financial assistance, again, that's talked about 25%. The rest of the 75% are for grants. For the revolving loans, we do plan. We know there's times that we'll do some forgivable loans, but we want to maximize this so that we can leverage these monies that we have and actually make it in a way a never-ending program. We don't want these $62 million to just go out and develop and not come back to us. And to serve more and more homes and green energy projects throughout the state. The Center for Rural Affairs, we are a CDFI as well, so we have the capability to do these type of loans and programs. So we've been around for 50 plus years, and that's that's a credit to the work that's been done way before my time. As moving on here with the, I spoke a little bit about the long-term and leverage here. We want to revolve those funds. I mentioned that. I earlier mentioned with the tax credits, we have many, thankfully now we have these ITC credits, we have these adders, and we also want to partner with you, private businesses, with foundations. We want to get creative in the way so that we can actually maximize this program. Moving on, again, the 20%, the bonus for the LMI households, that's critical. That's critical to success. That's a requirement of the EPA. But we can also do other things such as depreciation. There could be some partnership opportunities, with nonprofits. A nonprofit could own some of the projects. So and as we engage and we talk more, we can figure that out and just get creative about the way we're using these funds. I mentioned some of the additional low-income and housing tax credits, and obviously some utility rebate programs as well as that are available. And finally, I spoke about this, but we do want to do loans, subsidies. Each project is going to be different, and we understand that. We know that. So what we don't want to do is this one size fits all. So, and this is why we're here to engage with you and understand each community's needs. Well, what's the way from, what's in it for me? I know that's something we ask. This is there's many opportunities. There's opportunities with housing developers. I think I've spoken with a lot of you. This is a puzzle, and we want to figure out what the best way to move forward with that. So we know there's a cash flow, and providing those benefits with is possible, and that's what we're here to find out and work together. You see them up on your screen, but some of the things is we got the Category 3 adders as well as Category 4. So when we're thinking about credits, it's possible to subsidize even up to 50% of the monies that we're putting in. So that's really attractive, and this is why the program is here, because we can solve the 20% magic number. And then you, our partners, public power. I spoke with many of you. You're a lot smarter than I am. There's a lot of smart people here, so we want to. I want to learn from you. We want to learn from you. We want to figure out these creative ways to partner, so that we can figure out how to deliver these savings to our LMI households. Let me see. Have you moved on yet? No. Again, I just want to stress here with this. We are. I don't want to say limited, but we are looking for projects up to 5 megawatts on the community solar. That is key for us. Obviously, the higher sometimes the better. Just we get some economies of scale. You understand that, but this is the way we're thinking about it. Let's see. Solar for all compliance. Compliance is a fun term for everybody. Earlier we heard from a couple individuals from Northeast Community College, I believe. And that's something that we are keeping in mind. That's something that's part of the Solar for All program. But we have these workforce considerations. We know these jobs are here, so we want to partner. Whether it's with a community college, with certain programs. I think I heard from a high school teacher earlier. How can we get with with these individuals, with these kids early in their careers, so that we can teach them about the opportunities that are out there. So that's something that's critical, and we're passionate about that. And then also on the EPA side, and I know you're familiar with this, but just following some of the Davis-Bacon and the related acts, making sure we're paying a livable wage, and that's something that we're working through just to understand what that program is going to look like. What are the requirements are, from us, if we're going to be given these loans and grants, et cetera. The other is, Build America, Buy America. That's part of the Solar for All EPA grant. That's important to us, and of course some of the domestic content, some of the adders. As I mentioned, we're here to learn from you. If I haven't connected with you, please feel free to approach me or my colleague here. I know Jana Dice out here, probably here somewhere in the audience as well. She's another colleague of ours. But really, we're just passionate about fulfilling the mission of the EPA grant and really serve our LMI households. With that, I try to place a couple softball questions, but I don't know if they'll fall through. So.
Excellent. I just had a few observations here. The things we're talking about right now, just kind of a high-level view. This grant isn't for urban. It's not for rural. It's for everybody. We're looking at keywords here: collaboration amongst groups, nonprofits, as well as utilities, as well as for-profit businesses. We're looking at establishing a revolving loan program. Well, we have one of those in Nebraska, and it's administered through the Nebraska Department of Energy and the Environment Energy. But, let's have another one. What's wrong with that? We can have more opportunities for that, because these types of loans can be dedicated to different areas. We're looking at opportunities with working with utilities and rebate programs. Where can we target where this really makes the most difference? One idea that's been floating around here from this conference is, in particular with Northeast Community College, having their wind program and needing more students in it, but also there's more wind projects going in that part of the state, so they're going to need more employees. There's also a Wind for Schools program that was happening about almost 10 years ago now, and that project had allocated wind systems for schools, but there wasn't really an ongoing program for maintenance. So now we have a lot of abandoned wind systems at schools. Why not use some of the funds from this type of a program to help with community colleges like Northeast to develop a method of going out, acquiring the wind system from the school, repairing it in classroom as an example, training their students on real projects that are good stepping stones to future employment with larger scale systems. So these are just simple ideas that can come about, and this grant really makes that happen. Now, we have an opportunity for some questions at this point. Is the microphone available? Yes. Okay. Dave? Yes.
Again, congratulations on your award. Also, my sympathies. One of the questions I see is the LMI households. If they hear that they can get roughly a $300 a year incentive for participating, how are you going to determine, you have very limited funds in reality. And so maybe potentially 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 LMI, you might be able to fund. And how have you given thought as to how you're going to allocate these funds across the state?
Yeah, yes and no, right? So something we want to do that is upcoming for everybody. We'll be putting an RFI out there. We know there's communities that are interested in these funds, in these projects, and essentially RFPs, et cetera. I think to answer your question specifically, this is why we want to work with it. We want to work with each community to understand that need, and then working with the different agencies as well to figure out how to, the requirement is 50% of that generation. So there's some math to do behind the scenes on that of, you get X number of households, and, sometimes we'll be working, maybe there's a wait list, and that's okay. I can't give you a clear answer, but I know we know there's different scenarios. We know there's different ways of doing things, and just working with those, with you and those communities, we'll be able to, hash that out.
Yes.
Scott Williams, Green Tech Renewables. Thanks so very much for the presentation. I, like Michael and so many others in this room, I'm very excited about the opportunities for communities across Nebraska that the Nebraska Solar for All program sounds to provide. So congratulations to the center on the prestigious award, and I look forward to all of the benefits that'll be coming to Nebraskans across our state. I'm curious about the existing, our public power districts have served Nebraskans well for nearly 100 years, and there are programs that exist to serve low-income community members, and there are programs that exist to support renewable and distributed generation types of investments. I'm curious about hearing a program that is created specifically to serve low-income members of our community with the benefits of clean and renewable energy. And I wonder, Daniel or Laura, if you're open to working with our public power districts to see those benefits to ratepayers that are in that nexus of both low income and being served by renewable energy, because I think that's a group that has historically sort of been overlooked. So are there possibilities to work with existing programs at our power districts? Or would you be interested in collaborating on developing and prototyping and sort of kickstarting new programs with our power districts that might be able to serve low income and renewable energy programs simultaneously? Is that the type of thing that might happen here?
Yeah, the answer is both. One, we'll try to maximize, if there's the needs there, but if there's a want from any, XYZ utility that wants to do that, we're more than welcome on doing that. At the same time, with these collaborations, I think we'll learn what might work for a community, and then we'll be able to have a model that maybe it can be replicated throughout the state. So it's definitely an interest to us, of course, and I think to the utilities and the the cities, the villages, all the towns throughout the Nebraska. Laura mentioned it. We know this is throughout the Nebraska. This isn't just rural. This isn't just suburban. We'll also be on Native Indian lands as well. So that's very. There's a need, and we can do this.
Probably either one of you could answer this question. Just a general question on the schedule for the Solar for All funds coming in, what your plan is for adding technical expertise to your program, just kind of a general calendar layout of how this program is going to go forward.
To be continued, but we're working through through these details with the EPA. We have some general funding. As we finalize some of this work plan, I mentioned our goal early in 2025 is just to get some RFIs out, and then we understand, we know there's a need from us on that technical assistance. I don't mean to be vague, but that's the reality that we live in today, and from a center perspective, and so I'm going to say early 2025. But we want to be very transparent of what this is, obviously. So please, follow us. If you want to be connected with us, Laura's keeping a list. Because as we learn more, we'll start publishing some of this information so that it reaches everybody.
I'm going to echo the positive statements that other people have made. I think this is really exciting because for currently solar is mostly a wealthy person's plaything in terms of private. I mean, so it's nice to have it be solar for everybody. My question is about working with faith communities, churches and other faith institutions that may want to provide benefits to low-income members or other low-income members of their community. So just asking about working with them.
I'm being thoughtful here. I do, I appreciate your comment of, we want this to be solar for all. I'll give you an example. For example, an LMI customer that wants to do rooftop, and we want to develop that, they might not have that tax liability. So we do want to, we're working creatively, maybe we or a nonprofit or somebody, an entity, can maybe own those for the first 5 years, and then it can sell them, so you can maximize some of the ITC, some of these adders, so it can be benefit to those households. So yes, I don't want to rule out what you say. There's many ways of doing things. At the end of the day, as long as the Solar for All generation benefits residential customers, then yes, let's work together. We know and understand that maybe nonprofits or 501c3s are interested in that solar generation. Schools especially. We heard that yesterday. That's a possibility. That's not a solar for all function money wise, but the center as well. Our organization, my team, we're working towards finding those funds. So that we can offer that technical assistance, those loans available to benefit specifically 501c3s, but also I want to get back to once we start doing some of this community solar, we're revolving those funds. That just means that there's more money for us to lend and to continue the work that renewable. But I am interested in your specific example of like how we can make that work. I don't, again, you're smarter than me, and we want to work creatively on how to maximize this, because there's a way of it's just fitting that puzzle.
And to answer Ken's question, also kind of on the side, there's a number of different nonprofit type models that have been around the country, specifically Wisconsin, Colorado, Minnesota, to a certain extent in Illinois, that have taken a project like this, and where it sort of evolves, it becomes a center where you bring your ideas, you look at some initial design considerations, get a scope of work, you get kind of an initial budget, and then you start figuring out, okay, how are we going to finance this? And I think that's where the faith-based applications could go, or similar to other nonprofits, is that there becomes a center that you bring your project to it, and then it works with you to try to bring it to reality. And it will be leveraging money both from local as well as other resources. But why not just establish a general green bond like they've done in some states, where people can put money into it and get a return on it? In the meantime, it's being loaned out to local projects. I mean, that's the kind of level of thinking that we're going to need. A lot of this is immature right now. It's just, it's ideas. And, when you write a grant, it's kind of a painstaking thing. And then you win the grant, you go, oh my God. And you got to follow through. And that's where they're at right now, is the part of, okay, we got this big piece around that we have to wrap ourselves around and get the community to come along with us. And there's going to be a lot of conversations with public power, with all kinds of nonprofits, with local communities. I mean, we're just 6 months to a year in the making just to kind of get that started. I think that's. More questions? Yes.
Going back.
Yes, I have friends in the insurance business. There are companies now, if you put solar on a roof, they'll insure the house, but they won't insure the roof because of the weight. Is that, you going to look into that when you take this into consideration?
That's kind of nonsense. Okay, I just done a bunch of detach, reattach in Omaha because of the storm that we had. So the insurance policies all stipulate pretty much the same kind of coverage because it's mandated that way. And those things are covered. Sometimes insurance companies have been performing badly in some areas, and we're about to see some of that becoming more prevalent here, but it's already been happening in wonderful places like Florida, where they get hit by 2 hurricanes in 2 weeks. So we're going to be seeing some of that happening, and I think it's up to the local people and the projects to work through that, either with their agent or even with the Nebraska Insurance Commission. But they definitely have coverage for the detach, reattach, and then the fix of the roof. So covered that.
Well, he said.
I don't like it when they do that stuff. Any some of your first steps. Let's just kind of talk about that for a second. We got a few more minutes here, and I was thinking. You're getting started with this project. What would be your top priorities, or a top that you've learned from this conference, or maybe you had preconceived before you got here, of things that you want to do with the project and the tasks you got at hand? Do you have some kind of first things first that you're getting started with, and is anybody here could participate with any of that?
No, I think speaking for myself, but for our team, we made many great connections. And really just having that conversation is key for us, because then we start thinking of the possibilities or the things we haven't thought of, because as we work with our counterparts on the EPA, there's some questions that there's some. And Nebraska is unique. We got 167 utilities, or so it's not one size fits all, right? I got a different service charge and the kilowatt hour, and everybody's not equal. So it's important. I'm grateful that I met so many of you, and let's please engage with me. I'll probably be bugging some of you But we want to work with you, and we want to maximize this award we got.
I think we have a question in the back. Yeah. Okay. David.
So I'm curious if, and this is thinking out loud, so please take it as that. A number of years ago, and it was while I was at the energy office, I know there was some community solar programs, and a lot of times, to your point about our 167 different public power districts, municipal power companies, rural electric cooperatives, that the challenge that comes is there's some variation, and the opportunity that is there's some variation and a lot of flexibility within that. And I know that and I'm thinking right now of some, maybe some medium and small size rural communities, and what was used in a couple of instances for community solar was essentially a community solar array that municipal power company for that city or village was able to say, okay, this is your panel, this is your panel, this is your panel. And I'm just wondering if, thinking out loud, if in your program, when you get to that point, being able to go into that small rural community that frankly might meet a lot of that low income requirement because of where we're at in some of our smaller rural communities, to really be able to both cost effectively and efficiently provide that kind of solar resource that on a one house at a time would maybe be harder to do. So that's an idea, not even looking for a response so much, but just an idea to throw into the hopper.
No, thank you, and you're absolutely right. The more we can partner, then we get some of these economies of scale that make sense for the program and for the community. So